Hey there, so welcome to the latest reading from the Illuminating Journey Cards deck. This is a Soul Portal Discovery deck, and you can buy your own deck at jendishan.com. Illuminating Journey Cards. Illuminate your wisdom, trust your knowing, hear your guidance. So this reading is for the week of June. We're in June now, so June 4th through the, what's that, the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, something like that, I don't know. But anyway, let's see what the cards have to say. The question is, what do we need to know for this week, this first week of June, full week of June? And of course we're now in a 6 months by the calendar, and that gives us, because we're in 11 year, we are in a 17 universal month. So very powerful, this combination of the 6 and the 17. It is a combination that invites abundance, success, being able to connect to the things we desire. So this month also brings us the solstice, the midway point of the year, and the changing of the sun, or the equinox, you know, where we have the equinox, where the sun and the moon are, the day and night are equal. So it's very powerful this month. This combination is incredibly powerful, and it's demanding that we get real about what we're in service to, what we're giving. So let's see what the cards have to say. Well, I've already sorted the cards, and here's the first one, number 2, it's the 2. So this particular deck is like no other deck, and it consists of 3 types of cards, and there are numerals in this deck, as well as the soul portals and tools. So the first card we got here is a 2, which is very interesting, because the interesting thing about numbers is that it asks us to really focus in on the symbolism of the number, what it means to us. And the first kind of energy I can see as I look at this is this here. Now this is like an arrow pointing, but it's an arrow that points on a horizontal line, which indicates to me that this is about being grounded. And being grounded in the sense of what we're bringing forth, what we're paying attention to, where we're focusing that arrow. We're focusing it on a path that we can walk, on something that makes sense to us, but also something that's very doable. So it's not pie in the sky. It might invite intuition. We have this beautiful curving arm that leads into this arrow. So here we have the feminine energy, the curve, the roundness, the invitation, the circular route that brings us to this point. And at the bottom we have the straight line, the masculine energy of what is needed or required in order to combine the two and make movement and make change. What's interesting about the 2 is it is an intuitive number, and it is also a very detail-oriented number. So this to me is like a human being. I see a human bending over and in supplication to the greatness of who they are, in the bringing together the divine aspects of the masculine and feminine, in the connection between knowing something or intuiting something, and recognizing that in order to intuit something we must make it real. And that's the connection we're in 11 year, and that's the 2 1s, and of course 1 and 1 make 2, and here we have this 2, this connection with ourselves, this idea of being in supplication to that mix that we are between the divine, masculine and feminine, and out in the world. It's like we have to set boundaries, we have to be very clear about what it is we're bringing forward, so we can attend to those details, so we can move this arrow forward in a very practical way. This is about making this idea, this energy real. It's a coming together. Two bridges ideas. It bridges differences. It bridges the difference, or the mechanism between an idea and reality. So it showcases polarity, two sides. There are two sides. Where's the join? And there's another aspect that we can read here, which is you can walk this path. Your idea or your belief may begin here, someone else may begin there, and you both have a way to meet at this center point right here, the arrow of being connected to your belief, being connected to something that's of importance to you, being in integrity with two sides, and coming to that place, to that balance and harmony where you can move forward. So I think this is a very powerful gate to recognize that there are many ways to walk the path of this time. You can choose to stick with what you know and refuse to change. You can choose to meet someone else or something else that may be something you're uncomfortable with, but you're willing to meet them and learn and be guided by them. They guided by you, you guided by them, or this thing you've never done, allow it to lead you as you lead it. So it becomes a relationship, a companionship. It's a commitment to connection when you're both sharing something, whether it's with an idea, a product, a thing, or a person. So this is how it works in conjunction with something else. You bridge what you don't know with what you know. And so I think this is a very important aspect, especially considering that we're midway through the year. So at this time, this week, for this month, beginning to connect in a more practical way with what it is that you want to bring forth. What change do you wish to support? What shift is your desire, and how can you make that real? How can you attend to this becoming real? And for many of us, when we have an idea, when we long for something different, it's those tiny steps that get us on the path. We just start doing things that sometimes are uncomfortable, many times uncomfortable, and we begin to make change. So let's see what the second card is. We have a key. Very interesting, because there is an element of the two. The two has an element of the key in it, that kind of circular energy in the straights. Here we have a circle and a line, so we're repeating again the male and female aspects. The female aspect is that rounded shape, the circle, which is about intuition and openness and ideas and a willingness to connect. And here is the line, or the one, the masculine energy, which is about taking action. And when you think about a key, it really is about taking action. It's about opening that door, being willing to find a different solution, to try a different door, apply the key to something you've never considered. So it answers questions. It also takes you on a quest. It allows you to see the bigger picture, open doors you've never opened. This is the second kind of card in this deck. So we already have the number. Here we have one of the tools. And so how can you use a key or a solution or something that opens something else in order to have a bigger picture of this whole idea? It's very interesting about this key, because this circle actually looks like a heart. So that's kind of cool. I like that it's got a heart. And it's interesting that the fact that a key or a lock, has to engage. The lock has to engage with the key in order to open. So there is it's a coming together. It's a connecting. The lock and the key have to connect. They have to engage, and they have to be in agreement in order to open the door. And I think that is definitely something important to think about in terms of when you're bringing your intuition together with action about an idea or something you want to change or create a relationship. This is how you do it. You engage by both being what you are in your integrity. So the third card, and how lucky we are to have one of each card so far in this reading, which is pretty amazing. I always love it when the divine brings us this wisdom in such a beautiful way. And this is the card 17, which many think of as the Akashic Library, and I do too. I think it's an amazing card, this card, because it speaks of all the knowledge, which is what the Akashic Library is. And these cards were created through the Akashic Records. I was guided through the Akashic Records to do this and had help creating the cards. So here is this library, and what this thing speaks to, this picture, this card, and it's so interesting. There's a bath, there's water, there's also all these, the pyramid, all these different aspects of what we value that are sitting or in a dusty library, or maybe it's not dusty, it looks kind of clean actually, but it's this library that contains everything. So all the things that may be destroyed or we're letting go of, and we're afraid, I don't want to let go of something that I believe in, that's been valuable to me. This library reminds us that nothing disappears. It just goes back into the library and it's accessible to you at any time. So you don't need to get too bent out of shape about the meaning or why I need to hold on to it because it's going to disappear, because it may disappear from your awareness, but it still exists in the library. And then of course we have the owl right here, the owl of wisdom. And what is so powerful right here is this place. It's almost like there's a doorway here, right, with this energy that takes you beyond a world of things into the bigger picture, because things or objects are just the outcome of people's imagination and desire, people's intuition. And so when we start to tap into our intuition, that's what helps us create new things and create new ideas, and to link things that we've never imagined. We may have desired it, but we haven't found the way to get it. And this card is saying, if we follow the path, if we let go of the things that are kind of interfering with our growth, that is allowing us to have a new perspective, of a new skin, to be more whole by releasing all the old things that we've needed to remember and hold on to because it's our history. I'm going, I know it'll always be there, but I'm ready to release it into this library, to this place of keeping, so I can travel into the deeper portals, and I can go into spaces beyond my knowing, because I have more space inside of me. So this is the ultimate key. It is pretty fascinating, I think, the layout today, and talking about what is it that we need to know, starting with this number 2 and this idea of bringing two sides together, finding the harmony between the male and female, having that key, that amazing key that repeats the same idea of two sides, and unlocking something, bringing something together. And here we have the library. Well, how do you get into the divine library? How do you tap into the resources, your wisdom that you're connected to? How do you bring your integrity, your ideas, your longing of what you want to bring into the world? How do you make it real? And this card is saying, or this reading is saying, when you let go of the things that have brought you here, and you're like, I don't need that, I can unpack it, I can leave it here, because it'll be here if I ever need it again. Nothing is lost. But in order to produce something new, I need to let go or make room for so I can open a new door. That the key, the lock of the key, will fit into the door and open. So very fascinating reading, I believe, this week. And my eye keeps going here to the tortoise. I couldn't kind of make out what it was, which is kind of funny. It looks like a different creature, and suddenly I realized it's a tortoise, but it kind of looks like something else, maybe a unknown, or something that hasn't been birthed yet. And the tortoise, it has that shell, so it can become other things, but it's also the reminder that we wear our homes, or we are present in our bodies. We wear our homes on our bodies within us, our home. This is where we are, this is where we belong, and that is all we need, is who we are, in order to take the path forward. So that's it from me. It's been a little bit of a longer reading today, and I hope you find some nourishment through this reading. Let me know how you feel, what comes up for you, if you have some wisdom to impart that you received from the card that I didn't mention. I'd love to hear it. And of course, I'm Jen Duchenne, the creator of the cards, and like I said, if you wish to buy your own, you can go to jenduchenne.com/illuminating journey cards. And I will see you next week.